Good evening, everyone. So thank you so much for coming to this talk. So today, my name is Shih-Ching, and then before we start, I'd like to do some housekeeping. So this session will be 30 minutes, and there will be a Q&A at the end. And if it's go over 9 p.m., anybody who wants to leave, please feel free to leave. Anybody who wants to stay, please do stay. And I will encourage you to turn on your camera because this is such a small group. If you feel more comfortable to have the camera off, it is okay. And I will record this webinar by using the speaker view. So that means, like as I said earlier, it will be just a slide and myself in this recording. And please use the chat function to ask any question, or if you want, it's because it's a very small group, so you can always just turn off, unmute yourself. And then I'd like us to agree that we're going to create a safe and confidential space, and then we're going to respect each other using appropriate language. And my name is Shih-Ching. For those who never met me, if you can just think about you shush somebody, Shih-Ching, so that's me. I'm originally from Taiwan, and I'm now living in London with my small family. And I'm a personal performance coach with a coaching academy UK. And my other profession is a Suzuki piano teacher and registered with the European Suzuki Association. And I'm also a mom with a neurodivergent teenager. And then also I have CPD on mental health because of him. Mental health has always been something I'm really care about. And then, yes, and then the rest of it, just like I'm a peer educator for Autism Central Organization, a charity organization. So today, the reason I create this webinar is that one is my passion to raise awareness of neurodiversity. And then I like to share my knowledge and offer something I know about, and then maybe we can share. Because just from talking to people, and then some of the Suzuki colleagues, they were talking about like actually they don't really know how to teach neurodivergent children. So I thought that would be a good opportunity. And then if you like this talk, please recommend to other people, and either one-to-one coaching or group coaching. And I also like to give talk to schools or organizations. A lot of us are teachers, parents, or like something you care somebody, you work with people with neurodivergent people. And then in your work or in our work, if we see somebody who is maybe intense shyness, really, really shy, or doing something, you ask them to do it, and then they just find it really extremely difficult. Something like change of routine, change of positions, or something like in the performance things. Some other people, majority of children find it easy, but you just have this one child really finding it difficult, or maybe difficult to concentrate. And then in that sense, you kind of feel they are a little bit different. And then you can tell their mind wanted them to do this way, but their body just couldn't do it. So conditions like autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyscalculia, all this, and then also something like pathological demand avoidance, sensory processing disorder, and then OCD, all this fall into the umbrella of neurodiversity. And then the word neurodiversity was first introduced by autism psychologist. Her name is like Judy Singer in the 90s. And the ideas was like to replace those kind of negative word like disorder, disabled, just fall into neurodiversity. And then the idea is that their brain wired differently, and the difference leading them to a different way of communicating, experiencing the world, and then also just like daily life. So because it's different, difference doesn't mean disabled. So this is a picture I saw it in Sunday Times magazine in June, and that was a topic about ADHD. I found it's I relate to it a lot because sometimes in my own child's example, I can feel like a lot of things doesn't make sense, and then also it tangle up for him. So my first experience of teaching an neurodivergent child was 10 years ago. A mom, Carrie, came to me and then to teach her son, and then I asked her advice because I have no experience of teaching how to teach an autistic child. And then she just gave me this really, really lovely advice, and I remember it forever. She just told me, like, teach him the way you would treat others, and that it would take him longer, but he will get there. And then I didn't know my son is going to be autistic, but it was such a helpful advice. So this boy now is 15 years old, and he's going to he is taking GCSE music, and he just got his grade 7 with really high merit. And then he is kind of like, he has this kind of like interesting bit when we do the concert. He will come to the concert with bare feet because he didn't like the touch of the anything on his body. But he played the most wonderful, just using the music to communicate it. Now I like to share this. This is my other student who is 7 years old. He is on the ADHD spectrum. It took the parents a while to figure out is on the ADHD spectrum because they thought it might be something different. And then what lovely is his lesson, I have to say, is very difficult to teach because his mind constantly jumping from here to there. But I'm going to show you every lesson he likes to show me his own improvisation. And this is quite simple. He's only 7. He just started in June. You can see he understands the music pattern. So I'm going to play, and then if you can't hear it, just unmute yourself and then let me know. So what you can hear is kind of like he has this pattern he kind of understands, and if I don't stop him, he will play for 10 minutes, more than 10 minutes every single lesson, and then every time he will play differently. So it was just very interesting to know this. The neurodiversity in business reported like 15 to 20% of UK population is neurodivergent. So this also including like for the statistic from National Autism Society, and then also Dyslexic Association. So for autism is 1 in 100 people, and this is official number, but my guess is number is higher. And then for dyslexic people, like it's like 10%, and for ADHD is 3 to 4%. So my view is that the world really needs neurodiversity, because neurodiversity, they are very different. They might have a different idea, the creative side. Some people, that when they found their love, they might be kind of focused on that a lot. So I'm going to show some celebrity, famous people. So Orlando Bloom is dyslexic. Simone Biles is has ADHD. And then Ed Sheeran is openly talk about he is dyslexic. And then also Elon Musk. All this is kind of official diagnosed. So Elon Musk and Greta has autism, and Keira Knightley has dyslexia, and Richard Branson is kind of has both ADHD and dyslexia. So the common challenge they are facing is, I love this picture. What is the key thing is the communication differences. So this picture is that I like to see myself as the one on the right hand side when I talk to my neurodivergent son. Sometimes it took me ages like to kind of deliver my idea or deliver what I like him to do or communicate with him. And I'm sure either you talk to anybody, sometimes they don't get it. It could be their sensory processing differences, or the speed is different. And then the other challenges will be executive function skills. So like planning, organizations, initiate a task, and time management. So time management happened a lot in ADHD traits people, and also autism as well. So there's a word called time blindness. That means you have no awareness of time. You might do these things for too long without realizing the priority. And also like working memories. So working memories, sometimes it could be just for a child is learning. It could be for their creative writing. There's so many ideas, and then it's difficult for them to figure out which ideas to do. But also it could be something like cooking. So I was teaching my son to cook. So the other last year I left him to make his own breakfast. It was porridge. So he put porridge in the pan, and then he left just to read. And 5 minutes later came back, and then the whole pan burned. Maybe 5 minutes is too short, maybe longer than that. So all this kind of thing, executive function skills, is challenging for them. And sometimes I couldn't wonder whether it's deliberately, but now I come to a point, it's really just their brain wired differently. And there's also something called like vestibular system. That means something between the inner ears and the eye. The brain control their eye movement. So causing them like couldn't sense the space, the spatial awareness is there. So sometimes we'll see ADHD people might be clumsy or like dyspraxia, like walking funny, etc. And then also this inhibitory control is something like it's about control their response, and if it not go well, it can be like come to like shouting or not paying attention. And there's also something like alexithymia. That means this is a word come from Greek word means it means no feeling, and it means like the neurodivergent children or people finding it difficult to recognize the feeling, to describing it. That could also causing a lot of like they might not recognize a bully behavior, or not even to mention to tell you what happened in school. And then sometimes the sensory will causing they to be either too hypersensitive, everything is too much, too bright, too smelly, too noisy, or it could be the opposite, which is hyposensitive. But the difficulties to find is that sometimes some people could be hypersensitive in one area and then hyposensitive in the other. So it could be mixed. And then I like to show, I found this picture, the next two picture I'm going to share is quite powerful. It's like when you look at how dyslexic people see, the word is not in shape or like this way. And then imagine if you are living in that kind of environment, daily life, everything is blurred. Of course, like the mental health challenges. So neurodivergent people are more likely to suffer mental health challenges, something like anxiety, panic attack, or stress. And then this picture is like it's kind of really famous iceberg, like the anxiety and distress behavior is just on the top surface to show you, but underneath there are a lot of things. It could be masking, and then sudden change and tiredness and noise and confuse. Masking is something like happen a lot in girls, because girls are better at kind of like showing themselves and to adapt to fitting the environment. But it's actually really tiring. And then when it goes longer way, is the anxiety is something we are trying to prevent, like burned out or kind of meltdown or shut down. So I want to emphasize is like all this distressed doesn't mean it's not challenging behavior. So distressed behavior, it could look like maybe screaming, biting, hitting, or self-harm. But it also could like show in another way, like sleeping difficulties, eating challenges, and then ability to communicate. And so when the situation happened, us as a parent, as a teacher, as a carer or something, it's important to stay calm and observant and understand what is behind the behavior. So if a child is not eating, is not try to solve her to keep eating. It's more like what is behind that, and then to ensure the environment is safe, and think of a person's sensory need. All this you can kind of bear in mind to support them. When I was preparing for this talk yesterday, and my Instagram popped out this beautiful quote from Orlando Bloom, and I feel like you can replace the dyslexia word to any neurodiversity. So he say like, if you have a child with dyslexia, it's really about learning their superpower. And then because if the education is making it too challenging for a child with dyslexia, you need to understand how to educate the child so it isn't a challenge. Make it fun, and then think about like it's not because of they are trying to be stupid or trying to be not capable. Is then they need to learn how to enjoy the processing of learning. And I found I really like kind of relate to this quote a lot. So today the main thing is like I like to kind of people to be aware of and accept when you know somebody is different, like quite challenging, but like be aware of their differences and then try to accept it, and then to provide appropriate support, and also like to judge from others. So I'm a Suzuki piano teacher. I got invited to teach in a lot of workshops. And normally when we teach in the workshop, I do encourage parents don't be ashamed, or don't feel like, oh, I don't want people to know my child's learning needs. But it is so helpful for the teachers to know, because we will approach it in a different way. Yes, and then the next thing is about the judgment from others. We tend to feel so before, when I see if a child screaming on the street, I would be curious about looking at it. But now I know the parents might feel like they're being judged. So what I would do is I would check whether they need help. If they don't need help, I'll carry on. Because I heard so many stories about like the parents got stressed from feeling being judged. So because of the time, this is just to tell you how slow right now all the support, all the diagnosis is. It takes about like just above more than one year, but my guess is actually more than that. And then this is a quote from an autistic person. He was saying like he loved giving presentation as autonomy, but if you see him on the street, you talk to him, he might not talk to you, and people always misjudge him, thinking he's rude. But what he needs is he needs time to think about it. This kind of like I can constantly think about my son. When people talk to him on the street, he will turn away. And then, but what I notice is we sit in the cafe, people come and talk to him, my friend come and talk to him. Give him 5 minutes. When he's comfortable, he will start making conversation with you, and he started to become himself. And then what can we do as a teacher, as a carer, as a parent? Some strategy I use is kind of like always bear in mind to reduce the anxiety is something you want to work on. So you can use this thing, something called social story. Social stories can create any scenario and to prepare this child any unexpected. So when I don't use it now, but when my son was little, I draw pictures, say when people say hello to you, you say hi back. When people you see something, you pick it up or something, just prepare for him. And then provide some visual things. So if a child is going on a school trip, go to a theme park, go abroad, show them what is it like to go to the airport. What is like when you go to the airport, go through the security, and then what are you going to do? What kind of entertainment you can do on the flight, etc. And then when you get off so all this detail you think you don't need to learn, just break it down into small chunks. And then sometimes providing visual routine, visual timetable, just to make them feel more comfortable about life, and provide a checklist. So this in the evening you can say you're going to do reading and then dinner and then play a little bit, have a shower. If you are a teacher, you can provide, this is a list of things I'm going to teach today, etc. I'm going to show you a few things, like those are the equipment or props I use when I learned it from occupational therapist. So when you sit in, like you can provide this kind of, if a child is kind of wobbly, couldn't sit still, you can provide a wobbly cushion. And then so when they are trying to like wobbly, it's actually funny because for us, it looks like they are not sit still. But actually, for them, they are sitting still. It's something to do with the core strength development. And then if, so on the left-hand side, that stretch elastic band is, in the Suzuki piano, we have this footstool. And if a child's legs keep like kind of fidgeting, again, I kind of immediately know, you can tell whether it's being naughty or it's because they can't control it. So put this elastic band underneath and then to let them kick is also actually providing a sensory input. And then like fidget spinners or like this kind of like this, those things on the left, on the bottom right hand side, that thing is actually, normally I encourage parents, if the child can't sit still, just go to the playground and then take them to do swing and then swing them a few more times. They will calm down or balance a bit. So my key message is like to be aware of the child's difference. And then once you're aware of it, you understand like any naughty behavior look like naughty. It's not because they're trying to be naughty. It could be because they really can't control it. Majority of that because of that. And then you need to define your expectation, define what success means to them. So I'm very proud of that to say I managed the time really well. So if you do like this talk, please recommend me to other people or something. I'm really happy to share this because so many misunderstanding about people's neurodiversities. And then this is my social media, so you can scan it. If anything, you have my email address and